Hi, everybody. Welcome to Teaching Crypto. Big episode today. Yep, 2 days in a row. You got us. Please hit that like, subscribe, bell notification, super chats. Store is open. Any way you can help us would be greatly appreciated. It's been a crazy, crazy day. We went up to 67 at one point and went all the way back down and got rejected down to 65. Now back up to 66K. We know the conference is coming, and sometimes when there's a Bitcoin conference, the price does take a bit of a, I don't want to say nosedive, but it does not go up on the first day of the conference. I don't know if that's what's happening here per se, but it looks like we're gonna have to reclaim that 67. It's not as easy as we thought. I'm still extremely bullish for August though, and we're going to talk about an alt that we've written up before. We'll talk about how if you bought a year ago when you're watching us, you'd be in amazing shape, and you're going to be in amazing shape again once you finish watching the show. But Bitcoin still struggling to get to that 67 and then finally reclaim 70, Mr. FOMO.
Yeah, it's it's a bit frustrating, to be quite honest with you. I mean, it's giving us more time to accumulate, but I'm to be honest, I'm done accumulating. I'm ready for this thing to pop off. And so we talked about that earlier, how our accumulation phase in our minds ended a little bit earlier. And so I'm really ready for this thing to go. Like you said, we've put something on it, but I'm getting frustrated. This bull run is not what I expected it to be, and I'm sure there's a lot of other people out there that feel the same way. But again, it allows more people more time to get more Bitcoin at a good price.
All right. Well, let me cheer you up. As they say, zoom out, and this is the yearly. Okay. Now I remember our shows last summer, and we were talking about, man, can we just reclaim 30 here? And it put things in perspective. Because if you were watching the show, we'll talk about some of the alts. If you bought then and you just have been kind of sitting patiently, yeah, you're frustrated because we hit 70 in extremely early March and haven't done anything since, but gone backwards pretty much, bounced back and forth. But remember, originally, we didn't time it. The nosedive kind of came before we were ready. We knew there was going to be a lull. But we always talked about end of July. Well, today's July 24th. And guess what? August is next Friday. And so we're almost there. Actually, August is next Thursday, a week from.
That's right.
So we're almost there. We are almost there. And I think once we reclaim 70, I don't think you're going to see 70K till the next bear. I really believe that. I think you're not going to have anything to worry about with your hair. I think 70K is coming in the next week or so, week and a half at most. Really do. I really think we're going to reclaim 70. Now, we go back down to 60. I look like a fool, but I like our momentum post-conference. I think we're going to rally here.
Remember, Bitcoin does crazy things in a short amount of time, and so do the alts. And so really 65 to 70 is an overnight thing. It could happen as quickly as that. And so I'm not really that concerned with it. I'm just, like you said, you zoom out and you notice where we were a year ago, you feel pretty good about it. But like you said, March to now has been frustrating for those of us who have been waiting for this thing to pop off. We've done our research, we've done our accumulating, we're ready to go. But you're right, we have seen quite a bit of growth on the yearly chart, so I should table my frustrations.
Now, we know the conference is coming up, and we've talked about who, by the way, since our last show, it looks like Harris has decided not to speak. Okay, so we want to make sure that's clear. So things change in Bitcoin very quickly. It doesn't go stagnant. So that was new this morning, right? And so here, however,
to be honest with you, I feel like that's a mistake on her part and her campaign's part. Like I said yesterday, I feel like she has to meet him at every stage because it's this late in the game. I just think it's a mistake for her campaign to ignore a voting block that is that large. I think is, like I said, a mistake.
All things M&L, we need our Voyager money to reinvest. Well, Mr. FOMO has sent out so many emails past 24 hours. Here's the thing. I'm expecting an email either this Friday or next Friday with an exact date. Now, if I'm wrong, we're in some trouble, but that is my expectation. Either on July 26th or August 2nd, there will be an email with a date. That's the hope. And then 2 to 3 weeks later, we're looking right now, mid-August is best you're going to get. This thing's not popping next Friday. So, I mean, it'd be amazing if it would, if the email, the email comes out Friday and says we've started mailing the checks. I don't think you're getting that just yet. So sit tight. I know it's frustrating. Hell, the way things are going, some alts will still be down by the time you get your checks if this continues much longer. But again, I do think you're getting your checks. Everyone will be getting their checks before September. Hopefully I'm not wrong. I don't anticipate this going into, because he's talked about summer the original was summer, and we were looking at 6 to 8 weeks. We're already past that 6 and 8 weeks pretty much at this point. We're now in
right. But you have to remember that a lot of people's idea of summer goes through August. Mm-hmm. And so he said summer, he said July and August back. I think this was in May. Mm-hmm. When he spoke to us, and he said July or August at the earliest. So now you still have an opportunity to take him at his word. And like you said, I expect an email within the next week or so.
Yeah.
And so I wouldn't be surprised to see it come out this Friday.
And we'll keep you guys up to date. Keep it here for the very latest on that. Now, Mr. FOMO, if you don't mind sharing, and this is important, and again, we're not a political show, but
we hate them.
But here, and again, this is another politician going to the conference here. To me here, this is a play on making it easier for the government to hold Bitcoin as strategic reserve. So you might have two politicians talking about this now, not just Trump. And if this goes to legislation, this is going to be huge for Bitcoin. Now, it doesn't mean it's going to pass. It doesn't mean it's happening for sure. I personally think in 4 years, if you're not pro-Bitcoin, you don't have a political career. At minimum 8 years, but I think it's going to happen in 4. That's how bad I think the debt situation is. I don't think you reverse this thing overnight. I think people are going to need Bitcoin. Like I said, in 10 years, Bitcoin will not be in my opinion, it's now. But 10 years, people realize Bitcoin's not an option. It's a necessity. And so I really think this is probably going to happen, whether Trump says it or not. I think she will say it here. Okay. And we're talking about Senator Loomis, talking about getting a Bitcoin reserve legislation. And I think this is really big because it opens the door for other politicians to say, yes, I'm for this on a bipartisan level, because it is really dumb to assume that Bitcoin holders are only one party. In fact, a lot of Bitcoin holders are independents like us. So Bitcoin really appeals to everybody who studies it. Really, remember what Michael Saylor said: you get Bitcoin at the price you deserve. And the longer you wait over the years, the higher the price gets. Even 12 months ago, you could have gotten it under 30K, as our chart saw. 2 years ago, you could have gotten under 20K. And don't maybe even take out the chart for 4 years. So you get my point here, Mr. FOMO. This is pivotal. What we might be seeing now is a lull until the announcements are made Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of this week at the conference.
Yeah, and you could even see a lull that follows the conference a little bit just because of the little bit of buy the rumor, sell the news. But for that to happen, you've got to see a little bit of a pump prior to. And so in either scenario, you're going to get a pump out of this, whether it's leading into the conference, which there's not much time left for that, or heading out of the conference, which it seems more likely at this point.
So I want to talk about jumping back on the Sol train. You remember 12 months ago, we talked about getting on the Sol train. Now, if you got on that train 12 months ago, guess what, Mr. FOMO? You got it around 23. And, we talked about it again later. Remember that 100 to 200 prediction I made? And you're like, you think it's going to 2x in less than a month? AZcrypto, you're crazy. It happened, right? Mm-hmm. So here's what I'm looking for, ladies and gentlemen. I'm making another bold prediction. I didn't tell you because I didn't want you to stop me. 300, the Soul Train's going to 300 by week 1 of the NFL season. Hold me to
Wow.
it. Hold me to it, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, oh yeah. And I believe that is, look at my calendar, second weekend of September. I've got Soul going right to the 300 mark. If I'm wrong, you can find us right here. What is your reaction to my enthusiasm for the Soul Train pumping right back up here?
It's bold. Like I said the last time, for it to 2x in that amount of time would be pretty impressive. However, it has done it before. You have proven me wrong with the Soul Train before, and so I'm just I'm hesitant to believe you, but like I said, you've proven me wrong. So
well, let me show you the month.
I'm hopeful. I'm hesitant but hopeful, I guess.
As you have been frustrated with Bitcoin, have you noticed? Not everyone has because they haven't looked at the charts. Sol is up 41%. And this is a big cap, guys. This is a big cap. So for it to move while Bitcoin has been stagnant, especially don't forget what happened Bitcoin at the beginning of July 4th weekend. Don't forget, we went below 54K. So for this to rebound that quickly is extremely impressive to me. And, you know, one of the things I want to talk about is there's a lot of stuff on Sol, right? Like one of the ones I've been telling you guys about, Marinade, okay? Earlier this year, it hit 68 cents. You can get it right now for 14 cents. So those are some of the things that I would be looking at. But if you want to just play it very safe, the Soul Train, I think, is going to take you to 300 by the beginning of football season, right? And if you're not a U.S. viewer, we're looking at mid-September, basically, second weekend of September, okay?
Yeah, we're talking American football, not FUTBOL.
But I like this. I mean, I think the high for this during the bull run is between 500 to 700. I know that's a huge range, but I think there's a long, and it's not going to 100x. And we want to keep saying this, guys. Be careful with the shows that are promising you 100x's and the 20 and the 30 and the 50x's. Here's the reality. And like I talked about yesterday, I do think, you know, something like Carrot can easily 10x. However, it's going to be hard for all these projects to do these 10, 30, 50, 100x's. And the reason why is there are so many of them, and the money, yes, the market cap is higher than it was 4 years ago, but everything is so spread out. You still have your old dinosaurs like Cardano, which people have money in, but the money's going all over the place. So I think really you want to take profits. Here's what could have happened. And I know someone that did this. You bought Solana last year in the summer, and I spoke to one of our viewers that did this, and you got it under 25 and you sold around 200. You now could have gotten back in at 120 just a few weeks ago. And now you're riding it back up already. And now you can decide between 200 and 300 based on my prediction when you're going to take your next profits. Do your own research, but you've talked about it. I think this is really pivotal for our viewers. You got to be taking profits because what happened, this thing didn't stay at 200. We went over 200. We went down to the 120 range. Now, guess what? We're headed back to 200 and we're headed towards 300. But if you don't take profits at 300, you might see it back close to 200 again, because don't forget, there will be, and you've talked about this, a holiday lull. Bitcoin's not going straight to 120, 130, 140, 150. There will be negative price. I mean, I know we've been waiting, but that's the reality. I think
it doesn't even
all rise. Go ahead.
It doesn't even take a holiday lull. It takes a billionaire to say one wrong thing, and it could trigger a sell-off and then a bunch of liquidation. So you never want to just sit there the whole way, especially with the altcoins. You want to get your pump, have a target set, take your profits, and then go back in at a better time when Bitcoin and everything is down. But you brought up a good point. The Solana tokens, not just Solana, but Solana tokens will also pump with Solana. So while Solana's running, anything that's built on Solana is going to pump as well. So make sure you check out tokens, like you said, like Marinade, because it's just like when Cosmos pumps, everything that's built on Cosmos starts to pump as well, or at least during the last bull run anyway. But this bull run, it seems like Solana and all of its related tokens are moving kind of at the same time. And so you don't only have to be in Solana, you could also be in tokens like AZ was talking about.
Yeah, and here's the thing, okay? We can't tell you when to take profits. You just have to take them. You have to trust us. We went through the last bull run. If you weren't here, all profits have to be taken, okay? Now, if you want to hold on, bit be much higher than it is now, yes, absolutely, okay? But the alts, you just don't know. I mean, from one bull run to another, it changes. Remember, we first got into crypto, everyone was talking about how Cardano was going to change the world. Now,
it was an ETH killer, right?
Now, if you're into Cardano, they're wondering if you've been in the space for the last 4 years. It's almost like talking about an athlete that retired 4 years ago that can't play anymore. I mean, that's what, if you're a Cardano lover, I apologize, but that's what it is. And so you got to be ready to move and ready to go. Okay. We did, if you missed it, we did a portfolio show last Friday, iOS Network, one of my favorites. Check that one out. I did want to do, this is another classic and very safe play. Okay. So I'm going to show you why I think another one, we used to talk about this one a lot, Mr. FOMO, and I'm going to share it with you in just a second. We haven't discussed it in forever. Now, this has a lot of institutional support in crypto. You remember our old friend Avalanche?
Yeah, I knew it.
Okay. Now, here's the deal. Avalanche a year ago at 13. We went all the way to 60. We're back at 28. All right. Now, this month.
That's a tasty price for it.
Here's what I kind of like. This month it's done well, but not as well as Solana. So I feel like there's a little more room to grow. And for this one, I'm anticipating minimum, we're going to get back to 60 sometime in September. How about that? Another free prediction that you weren't expecting, but I'm thinking this is going to 2x in the next 2 months. Okay, so by the end of September, I'm thinking this is 60. Again, do your own research, but I like this play. And again, there will be tokens that do better. But again, a lot of people want to be conservative. I know conservative and crypto don't really, that doesn't seem like it goes, but not everyone wants to buy the alt that was just created last night or buy a marinade, right? Or buy some of the, I brought up Subquery being in my portfolio, or Rio. No one wants to buy some of those low cap gems because you never know. They could not exist a month from now. So this is one very safe. I hate to bring this up, but remember Voyager was planning to build on Avalanche. Sorry, I couldn't resist. Very, very safe. Very safe. I like this one. 2x in the next 60 days. How about that?
Again, another bold prediction, but if we get some lightning out of Bitcoin, anything could happen with the alts, and especially this one. I think this is a strong bet to have in your portfolio. It's at least one that you should take a look at while you're building your portfolio, because there is going to be some strength there, and it's not going to be as volatile as some of those lower cap gems that we've talked about. And so,
by the way, your Muse, Mr. FOMO, is that it's still sitting at 5.1 million market cap. Okay. Remember, guys, circulating supply from Muse, 508.6 thousand. That's it. All-time highs during this year for Muse were $27.80. One of your favorites, one of my favorites at the beginning. Now, for transparency, I'm not into Muse right now, but I'll tell you what, I might have to scratch something together here since it's around my birthday. If it gets, buy myself a gift. If Muse gets back into the lower nines, my goodness. And again, I'll let you make the Muse prediction. How about this? I'm putting you on the spot. End of September. Where are we with Muse? What do you think? Give us a range. You don't have to give me. You don't have to be as.
I hate doing predictions because
I know I couldn't help. I couldn't help.
But I think by the end of September, if all is going well in the crypto market, you could see this safely back into the 20s.
Wow.
Safely back into the 20s.
Wow. You heard it here. You heard it here. Okay. put all of your college kids' college mortgage on me. No, just joking. By the way, we just got to 66K. Okay, and we almost made it to the Bitcoin conference, but Mr. FOMO's wife saw him packing up his suitcase. He said, hold on. You got to feed the family this week. But if you want to help the show, guys, we would really, really appreciate it. Just by subscribing, sharing the show, super chats, and the store are available. Thank you guys so much. If anything happens during the Bitcoin conference, we will give it to you. Come here.
Or if we hear from Paul Hage.
Absolutely. Anything Voyager, anything Bitcoin, anything crypto, you got it right here. Guys, thank you so much for supporting the show. Have a beautiful evening, everybody.
See ya.